Hello, Cancer North nodes, Capricorn South nodes, or really anyone who is interested in taking a look at this Capricorn shadow. Let me start. I am recording this on 10/10/2023, so October 10th. That is the day when Pluto is stationing direct after its several month retrograde at the end of Capricorn. Pluto is stationing direct at 27 degrees of Capricorn today, October 10th. And who knows when I'll have this video out, hopefully soon, fingers crossed. And Pluto has been in Capricorn, which is to say, like, Pluto has been co-present in the sign of your South Node, or any placement that you're wanting to work on in Capricorn. Like, Pluto's been co-present since 2008. 2008 is when Pluto first entered Capricorn, and if you'll remember, that was a huge banking failure and leading to a global recession. And that was Pluto's entrance into Capricorn, 2008. Now we have Pluto at the tail end of Capricorn, right? We're at the end of 2023. First thing in 2024, in January 2024, Pluto is going to leave Capricorn and go to Aquarius. Although I do believe there is like another couple of months, like just a teeny little couple of month window where Pluto will make one final touch back into like the super late 29th degree of Capricorn during 2024, and then back into Aquarius by the end of 2024, and then we're in Aquarius for 20 years with Pluto. All of that to say, Pluto is stationing direct in Capricorn with your South Node. And what does that mean? And what it means for me is that we had to come right here today. I have half of an episode ready for the Aries North Node, and instead of finishing that, talking about the Libra shadow, I was like, no, must go here, must do this one. So my soul was calling me, and you better believe I answered that call. Hello, what can I do for you? So we are going to go through the Capricorn shadow, and Pluto in general is like the lord of the underworld, like the king of all the shadows. It's the part of ourselves that it's just a really tender spot in our psyche. It's death and rebirth of things that cannot be salvaged, of things that are not sustainable in nature. Sustainable meaning that it can last forever, right? Like there's no energy loss in this process. And if something is harvesting energy from you, it's gotta go. Pluto is like locked on like a target and is like honing in to destroy anything that is harvesting the life force energy from your being. And what that means is that the end of 2023 and the very beginning of 2024 could absolutely be a tumultuous time, mostly for you guys, as far as losing things that you thought were rock solid. You thought that Pluto can't touch this because this is one of those sustainable structures. This is one of the things that's like beautiful and good and like I'm meant to be here. And then it ends. And there's some massive disillusionment happening in that, as far as like Pluto being involved means that this is ultimately trying to empower you. The fact that this ending is occurring, it's trying to empower you. But the ending itself can be incredibly hard. I mean, that's loss and grief and sadness and disillusionment, as far as like, wait, I thought this was solid. I genuinely had this paperwork filed as far as like, this is good to go. And then it crumbles right before your eyes and you had no clue. And like, that's a tough moment. And the thing about it is like, what I'm feeling and what I'm getting is like, it wasn't good to go. It really wasn't. And had your, sometimes I'm like, don't make me say it. Don't, no, that's too much. But like, okay. You guys are super tough and like hard, right? Like that Capricorn mountain, like just tough. And what I want to say is like, had your emotional receptivity been more online, you would have noticed a long time ago that this is not even a little bit okay. And the suffering in silence that was going on was emanating vibrations that were ignored in terms of the Capricornian, focused on the goal, focused on the earth realm, the tangible 3D, what I can hear, smell, taste, touch. I'm missing one, but I don't remember which one. But you get it. You totally get it. It's like that south node of overemphasized Capricorn energy, the Capricorn shadow of indulging too far in the Capricorn energy, is that you lose sight of the people that you're interacting with, and how are they? How are they? So I see this as two things that really do go together. It's the same thing. Is that this Pluto stationing direct, this last few months of Pluto and Capricorn, before the last couple months next year, Pluto and Capricorn, this opportunity to work with the Pluto shadow, really for the collective, but again, especially for you guys. This is creating a twofold upgrade here. Number one, it is empowering you to an even greater degree of your own personal power than you have ever felt before. And it is nothing like you're expecting. It's nothing like Capricorn. Like, that's the whole point, is that this is a shattering disillusionment in those Capricorn ways and how far they fall short. And the second piece along with that, this is like bringing you into your full power, is that this is also bringing your nurturing skills online in a new way that you have never before encountered. And that's why I say, like, this full empowerment, it's nothing like you're expecting, because when you are fully empowered, what you do with your power is you help other people feel better. You specifically hone in on how are you feeling and how do I nurture you to get you to come back to life. Like, how do I emotionally see you and hear you and validate you and love you and reassure you? And how do I shore you up emotionally so that now you are feeling more in your own emotional stability, such that this other person who's now feeling better about themselves because of the power that you shared with them, the power to see them and hear them and feel them and validate their heart. You used your power for that, and now they feel better, and now they go out in the world and they do Capricornian things. They go and they have big goals and big dreams, and they build huge structures. They build all kinds of things that make this world an even better place to live. You don't. You build them. You build them as a person. You build them in their self-esteem. You build them in their knowing their own goodness. You nurture them like you would your baby, right? Like, you don't like go hard on a baby, or maybe you do. Like, dude, like, there's some stuff in the news right now that's like, do you know who's the Capricorn South Node? Ruby Frankie. If you spend any amount of time on YouTube, you know who Ruby Frankie is. She is a Capricorn South Node, and she is being tried in a court of law right now for her tough love parenting style. And that's what I'm talking about with this Pluto stationing direct. Pluto hasn't even stationed direct yet, like, it's happening at the time I'm recording this, like, still in the future. And she's already in trouble, and it's like only going downhill from here. Like, the proof and the complaints about her and her style lacking nurturing, it's only mounting. The case is only mounting. And so that tearing down those Capricornian ways, like, as a Capricorn South Node, you cannot continue like this. And the losses that you will incur will be wounds that will open you to realizing, you know what, I wish I would have paid closer attention to that person. I wish I would have paid closer attention to how they were feeling in those times when they were really quiet and they didn't say anything, but I kind of got the sense that maybe they were kind of sad, but, they didn't say anything, and I had, such and such to go do that day, and I had to take this over to that guy so he could finish that job, and I did my job. What am I supposed to do? I did my job. Dude, that loss that comes along, what I want to say, and this is coming from the Pluto side of it, is it's permanent. And sometimes all that's left in a relationship is to say goodbye and that it's over. And those losses of it cannot be salvaged. There is no point. We're way past the point of no return. There is no going back here. This is just going to burn, and that'll be the end of it. Okay? Sometimes that's what happens. And looking at that and regretting your past mistakes, if we can call it that. I don't personally choose to look at it like that, but that's the words that came. It's your past choices. You made choices. You chose things. And in the 3D, and this is something that you guys know really well with Saturn ruling your South Node, it's in the 3D, it's very simple. You make a choice and there's a consequence. You make a choice and there's a consequence. You make a choice and there's a consequence. Consequence is a neutral concept. It can be positive, it can be negative. The consequence is there's an action and a reaction. That's it. So, you made choices to ignore the other person's feelings or to deprioritize them or, however it happened, you tuned out of the other person's feelings and now they walked away. They're done. They don't want a relationship anymore. And that loss is a teacher. That loss is a teacher as far as okay, so what would you have done differently? You can't go back and do it differently. You already made those choices, and that's not how the 3D works. We don't get a do-over. The do-over that we do kind of get is that we can change our behavior going forward. We can choose to do it differently with the people who are still in our lives. That person who walked away and left us because we didn't pay close enough attention to their inner world. That is what I'm feeling is be grateful it was that one and not some of the other ones who are in your life, who are still there, right? They haven't walked away yet. They're still there, and they can be the recipient of this lesson that you learned by this other person walking away. You can wake up and realize that the way you choose to pay attention to the people that you are in relationship with, it absolutely impacts the outcomes of those relationships. That when you ignore the other person's feelings, it drives them further away. And when you pay attention to their feelings and you get involved and curious and wanting to hear them out, wanting to peek into, what are you feeling? You seem sad. Are you okay? Asking a question like that, and Capricorn South Node, I can hear it. It's I'm too fucking busy for that. I got work to do. Ain't nobody got time for emotions. Come on, put it back in. We got stuff to do. Just severe emotional repression. And unfortunately, or fortunately, there's a very effective way to break habits of emotional repression, and that's to get your heart broken, to be in pain. And the pain you can't repress, right? It's breaking the habit of repression by giving you something so intense to feel that it lights up your entire system and brings your feelings online. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be that rough of a ride. We can choose to turn inward and pay attention to our own emotions. We can choose to indulge our little gut feelings that says like this person has something on their mind and they're sad. Like, if you need somebody to talk to, you can talk to me. Like, you don't have to like take responsibility or ownership for fixing anything, to just like give them a resource, give them a shoulder to cry on if that's what they need. Most people are that's weird. Like, all people are technically fully empowered, but a lot of people even are knowing their power and they don't really want you to fix it. They just need to be heard and need to like let a little bit of air out of their balloon, maybe get a little bit of advice, maybe after we've done a lot of emotional validation, maybe they want a nugget, a morsel of advice from you, maybe. Probably the emotional validation is all that's really needed for them to be back on their feet and doing the Capricorn things of providing and building and securing structures and creating opportunities for people far and wide, right? Like, Capricorn is such a beautiful energy when you think about the infrastructure that it provides for our life. It makes life on planet Earth easier because people build stuff to make life easier. And that's a beautiful thing. But I think where, the South Node is in Capricorn and the North Node is in Cancer for you guys, that Capricorn South Node is pointing to, we're over-focusing on this at the expense of the other thing. And with Pluto stationing direct in your sign, talking about like Pluto stationing direct is gonna like up the empowerment for every single individual. And again, like, that's a phrase that sounds really positive as far as like Pluto is going to enhance the empowerment of every individual. And I mean that. But it's important to understand, like, what does that actually look like in the 3D? Because again, a lot of times it works through pain. It works through hitting your breaking point, and I am not gonna take it anymore. And then you do something that changes your whole life. And it's because you're in your power. It's because you have choice. It's because you have access to navigate in whatever way you personally see fit. And a lot of times, like, again, you guys have a severe tolerance for hardship. And that may sound like, oh yeah, I'm a badass. Like, look how tough I am. But like, if anything, it works against you. Like, all South nodes, like, this tolerance for hardship means that you put up and 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 you put up. You put up with all kinds of things that you don't deserve. You put up with all kinds of nasty people and structures harvesting your life force energy. You let them do it. You exist in this like, I'm a power plant kind of way, and you let people plug into you all over the place, and they take and they take and they take and they take. And Spirit don't like it. Spirit don't like it at all. It's that Capricorn South Node. You've overdone it. You need a little bit more tenderness, mostly so that you recognize that, like, you're letting people take advantage of you. You're letting them take things from you, and it's not balanced and it's not equal. And what's left for you at the end of that? Because, they're taking, and like, who's giving to you? Who's pouring into your cup? And with a Cancer North Node, the answer is it better be you. It better be you pouring into your own cup. So that's like one of the ways where Pluto can bring us to our power is by pushing us into a situation where all that's left to do is take care of ourselves. And, again, like, it's like Capricorn can be quite stubborn, quite focused. Again, it can be one of your superpowers to be that focused. And it can be your downfall. It can be like forcing a health scare where, like, I think of this person was a Taurus South Node, not a Capricorn South Node, but like, she was just going, like, wouldn't stop on the Taurus South Node end. And then, like, her friend's dog, who she loves, this dog, like, jumps on her and breaks her freaking leg. And now she's in a wheelchair in her house, can't work, can't do her walk in the forest that she's, like, known for. And she has to sit in her house in her wheelchair for 2 months. And it like changed her whole perspective. It changed her whole life. She was like forced to go within that Scorpio North Node of like being forced into her emotions. And again, we don't have to be forced, but if you are being stubborn and if you're putting your foot down, then Pluto stationing direct is a time where the universe is like, your time's up. It's time to get in your power right now. And if that means that we have to destruct some things that are standing in the way, then we will, and we'll do it because we love you. We love you, and we want your soul to evolve in the way that it intended when you selected your Cancer North Node. Your heart needs repair. Your heart space is like the Sahara Desert. It's dry, and it wants your nourishment, your powerful attention. You intended to put it largely on yourself, and what you didn't put on yourself, you wanted to use it to nurture those around you to be even stronger, healthier, more robust versions of themselves. And when we distract ourselves with the earth realm 24/7 with, earthly goals and priorities 24/7, there can be somewhat of a really harsh wake-up call. And I don't say this to scare you. If anything, I think there's hope in this message. I think, right? Who am I? I think there's hope in this message because if it's falling apart right now, that means it's Pluto doing it, and that means that it's for your empowerment. Signed, the universe. Like, you're welcome, right? So in the long run, this thing serves you stepping into your greater power, and loss is hard on all of us, okay? And when something is ripped away, especially something that we counted on as being like a forever kind of thing, I mean, that's a heart opener, and some of those Cancer North Node hearts are sealed shut, meaning they require a lot of force to get it to open. And so I just want to take a second and breathe with the collective as far as Pluto stationing direct, bringing us all into our higher powers, opening new worlds within ourselves that ripple and trickle out into the physical world. I breathe with the hearts of the collective opening and the pain that can be. Change is hard in general. Leaving behind the ways of the past is hard. But those things were in our life for a reason. Maybe they were only there for a season and not forever like we thought, but like they were there for a reason, and the loss of them is one of the greatest teachers we'll ever have. The pain of loss is one of the best teachers you will ever have. It's like begging you to please change your behavior. Please. The people in your life are essentially begging through spirit, bringing the loss of this one. Everyone that you're still in contact with is like coming together to like create this wound to try to open up all of the relationships that are left. All of the relationships that are left are still within your power. They're still part of your unfolding, which means you have a power to influence the outcome of that relationship. That is in your power. Learning how to create the relationship outcomes that you desire is another part, another facet of that Cancer North Node. And again, that's where the Capricorn shadow of being so focused on the top of the mountain, so focused on the goal, that the people you're traveling with feel like even when you are physically present with them, you're not present with them. You're living at the top of the mountain the whole entire time. And the people who are journeying with you, they feel alone. They feel like you're not there, you're not connected to them. So opening up into emotional connection with the people that you love, the people that you're choosing to keep closest to you, and practicing basically making that connection a little bit wider and a little bit wider and a little bit wider. And I'm feeling really called to talk to kind of a different octave of Cancer North Node, which is, dude, your heart has been opened wide, especially these last few years. All of that like triple conjunction, like the Saturn, Jupiter with Pluto at the end of Capricorn that we had going on during 2020, like it did a number on some of you to where, yeah, my heart got ripped open, okay, multiple times. There were multiple seasons of loss, and I'm also getting the sense that like not even necessarily permanent loss, but like a temporary loss to where the old person left and they were gone so long that like by the time they came back, it's like a whole new person. Like you're starting from scratch, building this relationship with this person. Like there's no history there to just assume and rely on. Like even that temporary loss kind of thrust you back into that Cancer North Node of really having to pay attention to what is this person's inner world looking like? How are they feeling? What's going on inside of them? So let's say that's you, this higher octave of Cancer North Node where like, yeah, you're really in your emotional intelligence. You have been practicing your intuition. You are flowing with your own emotions. You're caring for and expressing your own emotions. And because of that, as that, tide rises, your ability to assess and feel and suss out the emotional state, the emotional well-being of the person that you're dealing with, that's rising right alongside it. So your emotional intelligence has grown a lot over these last few years. And if that's you, then I have a very different message for Pluto stationing direct, which is hang on to your hats. Because holy shit, like if that's where you are, like if your heart's already open, like essentially the similar part is that it will be a heart opener for you as well, but where you found the joy and the pleasure of like your heart opening a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Yeah, it's kind of painful, but it's also pretty pleasurable to have your heart open, right? If you're not used to it and it's like the first like breaking it open, it feels real savage, but like once you kind of get on the ride and like you've been there for a while, like it's very pleasurable. It's like getting tattooed. Getting tattooed hurts like a bitch and it feels really good. So heart opening, it's one of those where Pluto stationing direct, moving you into your full power, your fuller power, that applies to you too. So what that means is like radical heart openings, radical emotional gifts coming online. As far as like when you are in your full power, you make other people feel better. And the healing gifts that you possess that are coming online will heal, I want to say like the whole world. I mean, that's what's coming, is like you have access to abilities and gifts in the healing arts that will ripple over the entire planet the way penicillin did. Okay, like that's the example that just came. As far as like when you are in your open heart, your ability to feel energetically the inner world of someone else and then use all of your Capricorn brilliance to build anything in the 3D that you want. It's like now you have an accurate read on where are they emotionally right now, and hopefully you're giving them some input as far as like where do they want to be emotionally, and then that earth energy genius of like how do we get from point A to point B. In the 3D, it's only ever just walk yourself over there. So like a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And that Capricorn genius of being able to set your sights on something and to have the patience to let it take its time. So again, like the way that you are able to heal and open the hearts gently and ever so slightly more and more and more of the people around you, the healing effects that you have on the people around you. Like remember, all of those people who are close up to you, let's say it's only 5 people that's like close up to you in your house or people that you see on a really regular basis. And those are the only people you ever see. And it's like, how's that going to change the world? And it's like, well, every single one of those people, they have their own people that they're interacting with, and that they're going to go do things that maybe don't include you, but like they're going to give that contribution anyway. And like this one's going to go over here, and this one's going to go over here, and this one's going to go over here, and this one's going to go over here and interact with all of these people who are then going to go back to their people, and like that's how it spreads. So it's not necessarily like your name goes down in the history books as far as inventing penicillin or something like that, but the heart opening, the heart healing that you do on yourself, and therefore that the people closest to you are kind of like getting access to by default, because as you open your own heart, that's how you approach them, is with an open heart, and in response, their heart opens to match. So the more you open your own heart, the more healing you will be permeating into the field of the people that are closest to you. And that even in your own household, even with the people that are just right here with you, like that will heal the world. That is a very clear message from Spirit. So Pluto stationing direct, I mean, there's a whole smorgasbord of ways that Pluto can bring us into our power. Often, though, it is through some destructive effort of removing what is keeping us from it. So anticipate, flow with, roll with, be adaptable to the way life is unfolding these next few months. And as much as you possibly can, trust in Spirit, trust in the divine unfolding of bringing you into your power. And that sometimes that doesn't always look exactly like what we think it's going to, but that doesn't necessarily mean that anything has gone wrong. I think that's all I have in this one iteration, and I am going to go ahead and release this so that you can have it along with Pluto stationing direct. Dear friends, thank you so much for joining me. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you like authenticity content, if you like deep dives, if you like North Node content, shadow work, all that good stuff. That's what we're doing here on Owning Authenticity. I don't know if you know that. So subscribe if you want to hang out. I would be honored to have you as part of this growing community. Until next time, I do hope that you will take such good care of yourselves, and so will I.